Hi guys, my name is Tammy. Welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be painting for you these really loose, what I would call peonies. So let's get to it. It's going to be really fun. So I've got my watercolor paper here, 100% cotton. It's linked in the description if you're interested. Stonehenge, Legion Stonehenge. But use whatever paper you have. So I'm going to start by blocking off where I want to add my blooms. And I think I'd like to do, I'm just going really lightly. I'd like to do 5. Pretty close together. So maybe this is like a kind of side facing, and then we'll do another one right here. And I like them to be touching, so they're nice and close. We'll do another one here, and then maybe one kind of looking down, and then another one. Maybe looking down this way. I don't want them to be like doot doot doot, but I want to give some type of an idea of, you know, some up here, some down here, and then we'll add in our foliage and fill it out. So, and I'll move this around. I just wanted to block out roughly where I wanted things to go. So I've got all kinds of things on my palette. I'm going to start with grabbing some of this pink though, which turned a little purpley. That's okay. Some pink. And then maybe some red, but we're gonna start really slow. So, and we're gonna spray down our palette. And so, you know, slowly building up the colors. So we're gonna start light because of that. So I've got a lot of water on my brush, a lot of water all over the place. And this is just that first layer. So really not worried too much about what's gonna go on here. Okay, so it's kind of facing this way, maybe a little bit more pink. It's a peony and it can come in different shades and different colors. So no worries, we're gonna do a nice rounded petal here. All right, blot your brush if you need to, like I did. And then we'll do another one here, making them really loose. Another one just kind of connecting on here, and maybe we're not, you know, filling in the space of all of those. Let's have another petal kind of come out this way. And then over here, we can start to add in a little bit more of our petals, not forgetting to leave, you know, a little tiny petal right here because of the perspective of the flower, but we definitely want to leave this lovely white space here so that we can start filling in with our yellow when we're ready. All right, so there's our first kind of loose peony flower. Let's do another one over here, facing this direction. So kind of the same thing. And then another rounded one here. Now peonies, I feel, are so challenging. And you know, I've been trying to lately paint them many different ways to kind of figure out, excuse me, how do I want to represent them? You know, how do I want to paint them out? And you know, what's the look that I like as well? What's my style? And it's just kind of, it's challenging because, you know, I want people to be able to recognize what it is when they see it. Let's do a little bit more here. But at the same time, I don't want it to look like everyone else's peony that they're painting. So that's kind of where it gets a little bit challenging for me. Okay, so we have this one facing that way and that one right there. Let's just do one, this guy, I don't know, let's kind of make it, maybe make it bigger. If we can, yeah, we can. And another one right there. So trying to figure out your voice as an artist, that is a struggle that everyone goes through. And I think though, it feels like something that maybe might be more challenging at the beginning, it's something I think we all kind of go back to over time. I don't think it's something you just like, you figure it out and you know exactly how to do things and you're good to go, you know? And your style can change over time as well. I'm gonna do a little bit of this, which some people might see as cheating, and it doesn't matter because it's my painting, right? So we're flipping the paper because I've found that doing these side-facing peonies, which I'm gonna move it a little bit more so it's tucked in closer to these guys, I have a hard time with doing it side-facing. And so, or the facing downward. if I don't angle my paper. So I just do that. And that's okay. You can do it how you want. A little bit of fluffiness here, a little white space. And let's do one more like that. So these are all similar, you know, they're all basically the same color situation happening, which is fine because we'll go ahead and add our accent colors later. So we're doing these two, I'm doing 2 petals right there, and then another one right here. A little bit of kind of fluffiness just right there. And leaving some white space. Let's flip it back over and see how that goes. Now that we have our blooms in place, we're letting them dry. If you have some marks that you don't want to have there, you can take this time to carefully erase some of them. You know, we're gonna fill in a lot of this with foliage, so I don't worry too much about it. But just for this painting here, for this experience, I'm just showing you, you can just do a little bit of erasing, no big deal. Okay. All right, so those are drying and doing all the things I need to do. I think it would be fun, I'm gonna just clean off my brush, to just start adding in some green. So I'm mixing in what is a little bit lighter. Well, it's kind of a sappy green, I guess. I feel like it's really light. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to know. And we are going to start putting in some stems. So this stem here, I'm gonna dab my brush, would be, it's coming from the middle of the flower. So about right here, and I'm just gonna curve it down. And then this one, same thing. And I just think it's cute when you can start adding in your stems and let that bleed, that's fine. It's supposed to do that. And if this one is not too wet, it won't really bleed. I'm just gonna add in, oh, there's a little bit of bleeding. That's what watercolor does. And if it's bleeding too much, rinse your brush, dab it on paper, and just start lifting some of that color, some of that paint. Dabbing again, lifting, and that's okay because we're gonna do more details and such when we are ready. Okay, all right, so what I've done over here is I've added in some really fun foliage, and I would like to do that now. And so I'm going to make sure I have enough green mixed up here. It's nice to mix up a lot with the color that you want so that you have plenty and you don't have to worry about, you know, mixing it up when you're in the middle of painting something fabulous. So I'm just going to kind of arc this right here. And then I'm going to start adding little stems. And I couldn't make it very big because it's covered. But let's do another one. And just really drawing out that brush. And let's draw it out slowly so we can get a nice point on our leaves. Dip your brush, squeegee, and let's do another leaf there. The slower you go, the pointier your brush can make your leaf. Do a little bit more saturated one over here. So when you are doing your floral compositions and you need some leaves, just start to think about how you would like to change up your greens. And I want to do more of this one over here because honestly, I think it's really a beautiful green and I want to kind of complement over here as well. Actually, I'm going to do it right here. Not that I'm trying to go matchy-matchy, but I just felt like this might be a good accent. All right, I have a lot of liquid on my brush. I'm just dabbing it again to get some of that liquid off, and then we're going to go the same thing. All right, so different angle. It's a little bit harder for me to do it that way, but no worries, they don't have to look the same on either side. So just pressing down with the belly, pressing down with the belly, lifting up slow. Okay, and connecting that. And then I'm going to do a more saturated one, lifting, pressing down, lifting up, and one on the other side and connecting in the middle. And finally we'll do another one here. So to vary up your greens, if you have a lot of variations on your palette, well, good for you. It just makes your job easier. If you don't, you can add brown or red to tone it down and make your green more of that darker natural green. You can add yellows to it to make it lighter, like a grass green. You can add blue, which I do have all these options. I have a turquoise kind of a teal color right here. It's really intense, but it's really nice for like eucalyptus. And all you have to do is just add a little bit of red to start desaturating that color. See that? And it's gonna get a little bit darker and more muted. So it won't be so intense. You want it to look like something you find in nature. I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's pretty important. So we're just gonna add in some eucalyptus right here. And I'm just gonna do a little stem, and then I'm just going to make my almost circles and just a little line, make my circles. And then I'll connect them with a little bit of a stem. If you want to use a really thin brush, thinner than this, I'm going to dip my brush and squeegee. You could use like a liner brush or anything that has a nice round point to it. So this one I'm using because it has a pretty good rounded pointed tip on it, even though it's a really thick brush. So we've added in some eucalyptus. Aren't they so cute? So I love them so much. We're gonna get with that whole cheating thing today. I don't think it's cheating. Some people might. I think it's just being smart. There's a phrase that says, work smart, not hard. And I like that a lot. You know, be smart about your choices in anything that you do. Painting, cleaning your home, whatever it is, working, you know, just be smart about those choices. Don't make yourself work harder than you need to. And if you're finding yourself working harder than anyone else, just kind of evaluate that and see where that's coming from for you. Let's do some more of that turquoise. I really love it with that red mixed in. And now I did a really dark one. I think it has more red than the other, but that's okay. You can vary it up. So I do want to vary this up and get the eucalyptus over on this side as well. So we'll just add that in. See, like I said, I'm just doing these circles, mostly circles, and then just placing them down where I feel is going to be a fun accent. And we're using the foliage and then just adding in some stems to connect everything. You can even do it like that. And, you know, adding in these stems afterwards, I feel gives a more natural look versus, you know, adding in the stems and then putting in the leaves. That's just sort of a preference that I have, that I've noticed I like doing. So, you know, feel free to do it how you like. All right, so we've got some greens going in. I want to, what do I want to do? I want to do some, let's take our sappy green. Once again, really, really bright, maybe a little bit of red in this one too, just a little bit. And a little bit more water. And guys, if you're liking this video, make sure to like the video and so that other people can know about it, and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on videos in the future. So I want to do just some cool brush strokes. I'm just going to press down with the belly of the brush and just use that natural brush shape that we already have. And then we're just going to connect with that really thin stem, making everybody super happy and excited to be alive. Okay, so that's a fun, different type of foliage that you can do. I'm going to just add in, you know, a few more of these. Now the brush is pointed this way, so the angle of the leaves is going to be a little different, but it still works. So just, you know, don't feel like you have to flip your paper around for the sake of trying to keep this painting straight for the video. I like to not flip my paper, but I just wanted to show you a couple times and to make it easier for myself, I'll be honest. Okay? All right, these are really cute ways to add nice fluffiness to your painting. So foliage is the complement, right? It's the complement to, you know, the greenery, and the small florals are the complement to your stars of your show, which would be your larger florals. And so when you add those in, you're nestling everything together, creating a really tight composition and a lot of interest as well. If you just had big florals, it would get kind of boring, like really boring, fast. All right. So, and guys, I do teach watercolor on Patreon. The link is in the description of this video. If you've never heard me say it before, I do offer a free 7-day trial if you want to check it out. It's just a place to not only support me as an artist, as low as $3 a month, you can get bonus content, live stream access with me, and exclusive tutorials and that kind of stuff. So anyway, link in the description if you're interested. Okay, so this is looking fun. Now here's an issue that we've got going on here. So we have a lot happening at the top and really not a lot happening over here. So I want to start, you know, bringing the eye down this way, and it's still not too late to add more florals. I'm gonna add one right here just to elongate this composition, which I knew was gonna have to happen. By the way, I'm going to do just a few little flick marks. They're kind of like grasses, I don't know. They just help fill in all the things. And I love doing that. It's really easy, it's so easy. Okay, and we'll add in a little bit more here. I do want to fill in this white space, and we could do some flowers or we can do some leaves. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see how things are turning out. So I've got my dirty water here, and I'm going to rinse into the clean water now and pull out some of this color. So we have a flower that's facing this way, this way. This one is actually facing kind of this way too, which was not my intention, but that's okay. We have two side downward facing ones. We don't want one of those. So I'm just going to do I'm going to try to do a straightforward looking one. Good luck to me, you know? It's so funny. I will set out to do a certain thing, and then often I completely surprise myself. Let's just do a little bit of a petal here, and then maybe some downward facing little petal-y shapes here that are falling down, as a typical peony does sometimes. So yeah, you know, like you have a trajectory of where you're going with something, a shape or size. I'm gonna make this bigger. I just want the space to be filled out a little more. And then, you know, you sit back and you take a look at what you've created sometimes, and you find, oh wow, I didn't actually do what I thought I was gonna do. And it's fine, because that's where you're starting to, you know, figure out your style, what you like, that kind of thing. But you know what, as an artist, if you can get lost in the space of creating, and we're gonna do some leaves here too. If you can get lost in that space of creating, that's actually a beautiful thing. You're using your right side of your brain, which is what you do use when you're experiencing flow state, where time passes, you don't experience, you're not noticing, I should say, hunger and tiredness, being cold or too hot, because you are creating and all you can think about is what you're making, which is a beautiful thing, a beautiful space to be in. So if you're listening to me talking, it's actually going to keep you most likely out of your flow state if you're listening to me. And that's not going to be, you know, the most effective. But once you feel confident and you want to start doing some things on your own, you can definitely experience that time and space, where it seems like time and space just kind of go away and you have no clue what's going on in your life, because you are just in the moment, painting and creating and enjoying. And it's such a relaxing thing. As a therapist, I have to say, it's such a relaxing experience for you to get a little bit of a reprieve from your burdens, from your stressors, from your issues in life that we all have, when you just create and enjoy. Little kids do it all the time. We just forget about the beauty of how to create. So we're trying to learn again, and it's not impossible. It's not impossible. You're doing it right now. All right, we're gonna do a little stem. Let's do some more eucalyptus down here. I just wanted to kind of angle this down, kind of like boom. And how are you doing? How are you liking your painting? I want you to connect with, you know, how you're feeling. Take a deep breath if you're feeling a little nervous or anxious at all, because this is supposed to be a fun activity, not stressful. If you're feeling any type of stress, definitely take a break, you know, walk away, maybe take a drink of water, take a nap, whatever you need to do to help you to kind of reset, and then come back to your painting when you feel like it. Or maybe you never come back to it I'd encourage you to come back, but you know, sometimes we don't want to force ourselves, you know, to do something that's just not working out for us. We don't want to make the problem worse by feeling the force, you know, feeling forced to do something by us or by someone else. So, okay. All right, so I'm looking at this painting and we're gonna continue to evolve it. We're gonna do, what are we gonna do over here? Maybe just some more of these types of leaves. I really love them. And then we're gonna need to add in some pretty details to our peonies also. I'm gonna dab my brush and I'm going to, I just wanna fill out this space right here a little bit more. So I have to pay attention to what I'm doing, and which can be hard when I'm talking. Definitely. All right, just adding in another leaf right there. Leaves are hard, just so you know. If you're feeling any type of frustration about the leaves, remind yourself they are challenging for everyone. Everyone struggles with leaves, okay? So if you need any leaf practice, I do have at least one video on my channel, if not more, that you can check out. And it's just great to put those brush strokes down and kind of see where you go from there. Okay, so we're gonna do some accent colors. We're gonna go a little nutty, I think. I'm feeling that today. So I've got my purple on my palette, and I've got also this pink here, and then I've got kind of an orangey situation happening. I don't know, we'll see. So if we're doing mid-tones, then basically we would be doing a color with about this, you know, this much of a liquidy consistency. If we start dipping right into it, we're going really dark really fast. If we wanted to do just 2 layers, we could do that. But what I want to do is just, you know, start adding in, like go really dark with this. Like I'm not even messing around today, okay? Just start adding in some really pretty color and kind of filling out most of the whole space, actually. Usually I'm kind of dancing around the flower and adding in just like a little bit of accent here, but I really want to go bold and intense. I'm just trying out some stuff today and see, you know, I think, you know, I've said before, and I was talking about how sometimes it's hard to know what our style is. And I think that I'm going through something like that at this moment of trying to figure out, you know, what kind of painting style do I really love? I have certain things that I'm doing, but do I love it? Do I enjoy it? Is that really how I enjoy painting? And I know one thing I really love is bright, bold colors. And I'm not always doing that. And that's okay. You can try different styles. Look at this. I'm changing the game, guys. I just started dipping right into these paint wells, which means really intense color. Let's dab that really fast. All right, so I am just pressing down, filling in some of the space, leaving some of it open. This one is more purple, so we're gonna get a nice variation in our colors. And I even have been using some of that brown, the orange, which maybe that's looking a little bit too intensely like clowny. So I might rinse and then just soften it up a little bit. And yeah, anyway, just going for it. Let's do some more purpley stuff happening here. I'm really loving the purple, it's so pretty. So peonies, you know, this is the idea of a peony. This is not gonna be, you know, necessarily true to nature. That's not necessarily my style. I'm not a realistic painter. How are you? Let me know in comments like what style you like the best and what makes you happy when you paint. You know, do you feel like getting intense color is going to make your day and make you smile? Do you like muted colors? I'm curious, let me know in comments. What is your preference? I like to know. Everybody is attracted to different things. And you know, people have asked before, like, how do you find your style? And honestly, when I was starting with painting, the best advice I ever received was to go on Pinterest and to just, you know, make some boards, pin some things on some boards and pay attention to the style that you are attracted to, that you're pinning on your boards. that's going to give you a very good idea of what you love, what you love to make based on what you're saving, you know? And it's such good advice. It's so simple, but so true. I love that. I think I maybe need to do that too. I need to do that every once in a while. All right, this is about the same kind of turquoisey color. And I'm just going to draw on some extra blobs of color. We're going three-dimensional now, people. So if your flowers are too intense, you can always blend some of the color. But I wanted to have a fun, whimsical time. And I feel like it's working out. I'm liking the vibes here. All right, adding in, and I'm just, you know, being very loose and kind of messy about this too. We already have so many stark lines with our flowers, but I want to just do a little bit more simple, easy peasy with some of the rest of these. So darker green, a little bit of a shadow side. I'm trying not to paint over the little lines, the white space where I've left color, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not intentionally. I do like that. I think it adds like a nice cute highlight to the leaves, so I tend to, you know, want to keep that and encourage that to hang out and be there. All right, so I don't know how long we've been painting. I feel like even though I've been talking to you, I'm still in somewhat of a flow state, able to just kind of be and enjoy and create and have a good time. So we have a lot of white space happening, so this is what we're gonna do. Just do little sketchy marks that fills in the space. You do not have to make these look like leaves here, okay? No one's gonna go, mostly no one's gonna go by and say, what's that sketchy line? That doesn't look like a leaf. What is that? What's that supposed to be? Why did they do that there, you know? Just add in different colors and fill it in. Now, I always struggle with this because personally, I like to fill in the space by having my flowers really close together, tight bouquet. But sometimes, you know, sometimes it doesn't work that way. We just don't get those flowers close enough. And that's okay. That's totally fine. There's some people that paint with lots of white space in between the blooms. It's all good. It doesn't matter. But every artist is going to have, you know, their personal style, their preference, of course, right? Of course, of course, of course. All right, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling good. I think I want to add in a little bit more of the turquoise and do a little bit more of those eucalyptus. So we've got, I'm just paying attention to the composition. We've got stuff coming down here, and I like this happening. I feel like maybe a little bit more coming out here. We just want to make sure we've got good balance, guys, you know? Good balance is important. So adding some red. Whoa, I made brown. Let's add in some more turquoise. If I'm talking, sometimes we go a little overboard. A little more green. There we go. That's more like it. Really light. Adding in some of that. And I'm just gonna go for it. Instead of overthinking all the things that I classically can do, we're just going to add in one more guy right there. Leaving a lot of white space, I just feel like that's a good look. That's a good look. Now, if we want to add a little bit more of the foliage, we are literally just gonna do, like I've showed you, some kind of grass marks. And you can do that on the grass marks you've already done, just to make it a little bit, you know, a little more dark, a little bit more fun. And just kind of, yeah, little bloop bloop lines too. Just really easy peasy. Okay. Here we go. I have to be honest with you. My brain does not want to put in too much here. So then all of a sudden, you know, we're too heavy on this part, but I do feel like here does deserve a little bit more attention. And I'm just gonna do another little sprig. What would you call it? A bunch of eucalyptus. And this is not realistic, you know, and that's okay. But just have a little one right there. what would you call it? A little sprig, maybe a sprig, a branch, probably a branch. Probably a branch of eucalyptus. I think that would be correct. All right, guys, you are hearing me blab on and on as we're painting this lovely thing together. Okay, that's fine. Let's just kind of let that do its thing. And now we're gonna do the yellows, the centers of our flowers. Sometimes I've put in black when I've been doing peonies, and I know that's not a classic peony center. It needs to be yellow. But also sometimes I'm doing a center as if it were a poppy, which I love poppies, but not a peony. So anyway, we're getting that classic yellow. This is a cadmium yellow color that I'm using. And we're just gonna make those pretty marks, and they're pretty full. So I'm going to paint in a little bit more here. I don't want so much white space left over because there's a lot of yellow happening with the stamen. All right, so that one is pretty much done. Sometimes you can do a little brown too if you want. So this little short petal underneath right here, it is keeping us from seeing the full center, and that's just because that flower is flipped up, it's flipped this way. So we're not seeing it straight on, we're seeing it flipped a little bit. And so the perspective of the center is going to be as such. Hope that makes sense. Hope that was clear. Let me know in comments if it wasn't. And I'm just making them really big. They're just that pretty fancy spot in the flower that I feel really needs to be celebrated. And I'm going really thick because yellow is a color that doesn't show up as easily. So I'm just going really thick paint. And then this one too is gonna have a little bit of that peekaboo center. Okay. And then we've got these guys there that are down facing. They're super easy. And I'm so glad that I angled my paper because I feel like they ended up turning out so much better. You know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So just a little bit of extra color here. They're still wet, so you won't see too much. I just thought it would be fun to do. All right, guys, I think that's it. As I say that, you know, I see a few more spots. So if you need to do that, just add in a little bit more of the color here and there, just to give it some dimension, some pop. Little grasses, filling in your white space, filling in your leaves if you feel like you need them to be brighter, you know, more vibrant, all the things. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for painting with me today. We're gonna skip the splatter. I'm so glad that you were here, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next video.